Welcome to Botanical Trails Through the Juniper Forest. I'm your host, Brian Heater. Each week, I'll have a different guest join me to explore a pair of interesting gins. We'll chat a little bit about the gin and the distilleries, throw in a bit of trivia, hopefully laugh a bit, and then we'll go off the beaten path. Although I say that this is a podcast about gin, really this is just an excuse for me to spend time with my friends. But that'll just be our secret. Okay, let's start exploring. My guest today for episode 7, Dave Spruitt. Dave, thanks for joining the show.
Glad to be here, Brian. Glad to be here.
Well, it's a nice kind of early spring day.
Yeah.
Sun came out after a little bit of snow. And so I've been thinking for a while, like, what the topic should be. Actually, I kind of knew early on. I was going to try to either find distilleries started by a father and son, but I thought that was going to be too difficult, and we can touch base on why that would have been an issue. But then I thought it'd be fun. Your brother lives in Copenhagen.
Yep.
And I was like, hey, let's do Scandinavian gins.
Yeah.
So today we are doing Scandinavian-ish gins.
Yeah.
So ran into a bit of an issue where what liquor stores in Michigan can sell is kind of licensed, and there are barely any gins from Copenhagen that are available.
I would imagine, yeah.
And two that were are actually from the same distillery. We're going to try one. So I found another gin that's actually from Minnesota that is inspired by Scandinavia, and we'll touch base with that one in the second installment. So,
okay. But
our first gin today comes from Sweden. It is a distillery in Stockholm. It is called Stockholm's Bryggeri. It is their dry gin. Today we're having it with the Mediterranean light tonic, premium light tonic, and then a little bit of lime. And so give that a try.
All right.
Let me know what you think.
That reminds me of the gin and tonic, dry, old school gin and tonics that I grew up on.
That you grew up on?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yep. So it's kind of their, they describe it as their like Nordic take on a classic, like dry, traditional dry gin. Their gin has 7 botanicals in it, but it really sort of highlights elderflower, heather, and rosemary. And I was looking on one site in terms of like what would be a good way to make a gin and tonic with it. And they actually suggested elderflower. Yeah. The elderflower fever tree.
Yep.
I found that to be just like a little bit too sweet with it though. When I tried it. But it was good. It was just a little bit sweeter than this. And I thought this did just a little bit better of being able to just taste some of the other botanicals with it. So
I can see that.
So this is what we went with. So a little bit about this distillery. They are the first craft distillery in Stockholm. They are actually based out of an old Jaguar workshop.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, on the island of Södermalm in Stockholm. So they say that they like to be, or that they're influenced by the natural, but also architectural elements of their surroundings, and they're driven by curiosity. They opened in 2016, so they haven't been around too long, but a little while. They make 4 different gins. They make this dry gin. They also have like a oak gin, so it's kind of like aged in oak barrels.
Okay.
They have a pink gin. That's the other gin that was available for us to try. It's gotten a lot of good reviews. I haven't tried that one. And then they also have a Navy Strength gin. Okay. And then they also have kind of like, I believe it's their version of like what would be an aquavit, although there it's called Akavit. It's like Akavit, but I'm assuming it's like their version of an aquavit.
Pronunciation.
Couple aperitifs. And they also do both bottled and canned cocktails. So, and something I also found interesting when I was doing my homework for them, they share their venue with a microbrewery there called Modernist Brewing. And I didn't know if you had ever tried anything from Modernist Brewing.
I don't recall, without digging through the years of Untapped. I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
I mean, it sort of sounds familiar, but
I didn't know if that one rang a bell at all. So.
No, not clear off the top of the head.
So, but I thought this gin was appropriate because they said it is, it's best enjoyed in good company.
Ah.
So, and you are certainly good company.
Thank you, Ryan. I could definitely see the pull of the elderflower, like a lot of it grows wild there, so you see them just giant elderflower bushes, and in the summer you'll see folks picking them, and a lot of folks make their own like elderflower simple syrup to have like elderflower sort of juice on the table, or make it into a delicious cocktail in the summer.
Yeah. No, this is it was a gin that my sister Amy, she and her husband Andy, they got me this for Christmas. I had not tried it before, and then like I said, I've seen their pink gin that's in stock recently here in Michigan as well. But yeah, it's really good. I've been enjoying it since the holidays, and I thought we would break this one out. So,
what makes the pink gin pink?
If I remember correctly, peppercorn.
Oh, that's cool.
If I remember correctly for that one. Not, there's some other gins that are sort of pink colored. Actually, I have two here, but they're like rose infused, which are also good. Actually, I'm going to do an episode on rose infused gins, but I haven't tried that pink one. But maybe once I finish this bottle, I'll give
that's cool,
I'll give their pink a try.
I would have immediately assumed like hibiscus.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I didn't read through everything.
The pink peppercorn, I think, is an interesting spin on that. They're fruity and peppery.
Yeah. I think peppercorn's part of it, because I know that they said for that one it's good to try to garnish that one with a peppercorn. So,
that'd be cool.
Yeah. So, true or false? We were once out in public and people thought you and I were father and son.
Very much true. In this neighborhood, just down the street from here.
Yes, we were down at the Monarch Club.
On the Monarch Club. And, that's how that started, and father and son ever since.
So that was why I was looking at...
father-son-owned distilleries.
Trying to see if I could find like some father-son-owned distilleries. That would be kind of fun. Yeah, but it was the three of us. It was you, me, and then my wife, Jen. We were sitting up at the bar, and the bartender was like, "Oh, are the two of you related?" And I'm like, "Yeah, we're married." And she's like, "No, you two." And she pointed at us, and she's like, "Is he your son?"
Yeah.
And I was like, well, she got no tip that night. So
I feel like Jen might have been sitting between us, and like we both looked around around Jen at us, at each other, and pointed at us, father, son.
Now I'm older, but I'm only 9 years older.
Right.
So, but you're not the first person now that I've been.
You got Sean.
No, shockingly not Sean, but Jerry one time from episode 1.
Okay.
And then
I didn't know this was like a family podcast.
Yeah, and then this past fall, an old intern Jamie, now that one is legit. She really is old enough where if I had kids, she could be my daughter. But we were ordering from a place, and I was waiting to put my order in, and I was like, "Can I order?" And they're like, "Oh, we're sorry, we thought your daughter put your order in." And I was like, "She's not my." I was like, "It doesn't matter."
Doesn't matter. No. I don't know. I mean, I think that's a good sign that you've got a bunch of quote unquote family members that stick around. That means you're good company too. Then.
Yeah, I thought it was just hanging out. I guess with the
or
younger
everyone's
folks,
waiting for an inheritance.
Yeah. Yeah, it could be that as well. So now, how many times? Now your brother's in Denmark. How many times have you had a chance to go visit over there?
I think three. Yeah, 3, maybe 4. But it has been a few years. Yeah, it was, I think, 3 before the pandemic, and didn't go during the pandemic. So
and then they've been home since then.
Yep, they came home this summer, and then back to Michigan. We all went to Florida in the fall too.
Yep. So what we should definitely do is the next time you go, or maybe the next year or two, I would tag along. We should find some Danish gins, because I was doing some research on those. I'm like, oh, these sound great, and then it ended up I just couldn't get my hands on them.
Yeah, and the couple of times I've been to Denmark in summer, it's a very common summer drink. Not just with my sister-in-law and her friends, but like you see them out and about.
Yeah, I would say gin and tonics are a pretty popular summer drink among folks.
Yeah,
so
refreshing and. Fairly low ABV if you make them, on the lighter side. Yep. Yeah. So what were the other aromatics in this one?
The big ones that they make note of are elderflower, heather, and rosemary. The other ones they did list. It's juniper, obviously, coriander seeds, angelica root.
Oh.
and lemon peel would be the other botanicals that make up the 7 for this one. So, yeah.
I have no idea what angelica root is.
No.
Did not have a previous point of reference for that.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I think what I'd like to do someday, if I ever had a chance to like make a gin, is go research all my favorite gins and find out like which botanicals they all have in common, and then try and make something out of that. And then we'll call it Botanical Trails, and I'll use that to finance the podcast. Just kidding.
No, that's great. I feel like during sort of the height of the craft beer craze, there were like scent kits that you could order to pick out, like, help train your nose to pick out certain ingredients in a beer. I'm sure there's something similar for spirits.
Yeah, well, I got a kit one time where you could, like, make your own, like, bathtub gin. So they basically give you, like, a neutral spirit, like vodka, basically. Yeah. And then they give you the stuff to, like, infuse into it.
That's cool.
Yeah, I tried it. It wasn't super tasty. I probably just didn't follow the directions correctly when I did it, so... But it was a great idea, and I love that gift.
Yeah, I think that's super interesting.
It was genius.
Yeah. So. The only other sort of different styles of gin I've really ever had have been the barrel aged from from Eastern Keel.
Yep.
Yeah, I really enjoy that one.
Yeah. So you see those quite a bit. Drew was actually on last week, and I tried an Old Tom gin for the first time, and those tend to be like a little bit sweeter. It's a different style than compared to like London Dry. Then there's like there's slow gins, like a slow gin fizz.
I remember those.
Yeah, so slow gin is like its own specific style. Navy Strength you hear sometimes, but those are really just
real strong.
Yeah, they're just stronger. Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
And then there's also like the original form of gin, which was Genever or Genevieve.
Okay.
You see those out as well, and then some people get really like, I mean, some places really break it out into like flavor gins and this stuff. But typically, I think there's like four main ones. It's Old Tom, Slow, London Dry, and then Plymouth Gin, which can only come from like one distillery in Plymouth, England, or something.
So it has its own sort of like
there's something unique about it. And I haven't tried that one yet either, so maybe we'll have to definitely try that in a future episode. But a lot of places you look, like those would be like considered the four main styles of gin. So,
yeah, I don't think I've had a slow gin cocktail in 20 years, maybe.
Yeah, it's been a while since I'm sure I've had a slow gin fizz somewhere. But you can get slow, like it's definitely a style. You can see different types of them, like when you're at the store.
How are they different?
That one I just haven't tried it yet, so I haven't researched it yet. So we will try a slow gin in a future episode at some point. So
like a live tasting of a slow gin next to a dry gin.
Yeah, or we'll do like when Drew was on, we did cocktails. So like instead of gin and tonics, we made cocktails. So we could do like a slow gin fizz and then maybe try something else. I don't know. Maybe we could do maybe what I could do is like look into slow gin and Plymouth gin, and I could do an episode on those two being the other two styles. Since we've now in the last two episodes we actually touched base on London Dry, and then kind of the new wave dry, and then the Old Tom, which was fun.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was good.
What cocktails did you guys make?
Drew made a martini, like the original martini. And then I made a Tom Collins.
Oh, yeah, delicious.
Yeah, both. They were good. Yeah, they both turned out really well. Yeah. So that was a fun episode. A little bit of a twist. The gin and tonics, it's just always like my preferred way to imbibe, and it's just really easy to like whip up, in between segments here. So, but actually at Christmas, Drew kind of came up with the idea, and I didn't think it was terrible, and so we ran with it. So
that's great. Yeah, I think that'll be fun, different spin on the previous episodes, and gives you a different way to taste each gin. Then. Yeah. I tend not to make a lot of different cocktails, but it worked out well, and it was a good time, and maybe we'll do that again in like some future episodes. I mean, we're lucky that we live in a city that has plenty of great cocktail bars, and bartenders to make those things for us.
Yeah, and 2 really good distilleries.
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
We are pretty fortunate.
Pretty lucky with that one.
So would you like to do the first round of trivia?
Let's get into it.
All right, and we decided that I would go first, so you get to ask the first question today.
Okay, question. The quote, "Of all the gin joints in all the towns in all the world, she walks into mine," features in which film?
Casablanca.
Yes. Yeah.
Have you seen that movie?
Yeah, very long time ago.
It still holds up now.
I probably haven't watched it in 25 years.
But it's really, it's just really well done. That's a good movie. That's a great quote. So
yeah. I feel like that one's been, repurposed in many other movies too. So
yeah, for sure. Yes. Yeah. I think. So in college, at Michigan State, where we both went.
There, yeah. Go Green.
Go White. I took Telecom 280, which was the history of motion pictures.
All right.
And I'm trying to remember if that was one of the movies that we watched. That was my all-time favorite class at Michigan State. Because, one, I love movies, but when I was there, it was taught by Jim Cash, who wrote Top Gun, Turner and Hooch, a couple of other movies, and basically it was just like what he considers some of the best like films made, and you just found out kind of the history behind them. Mm-hmm. And so this was back from, let me think, I think I took that my senior year, or no, I either took it the spring of my junior year or my fall of senior. So it would have been like 1991, either spring or fall that year. And so back then, if the movie projector wasn't working, he would be like, okay, just ask me like baseball trivia, and people would try to stump him, and I never saw him miss a question.
Okay.
He was like the Google of baseball trivia at the time.
Okay, on campus.
Yeah, and that was just such a great class. I love that class. And then what you would do is you would then encourage your other friends to sign up for the class.
Oh, yeah, that sounds great.
No, and then what you would do is you would look, because every semester it wasn't the same list of movies. Like, a lot of them were the same, but there's some different ones. And then you would find out what are the different ones, and then you would just tag along with them to that class. And you could just watch the movie. Yeah, it was awesome.
It sounds a hell of a lot better than 300 level finance, which I took in my junior year spring semester.
Well, I had those classes as well, but that was just the best. That was the best class. I love that class. So it was so good.
Where was it?
It would be in B108 Wells.
Okay.
Because it seats like 600 people.
They would show movies in there.
And that's why it was no big deal to just like tag along.
Yeah. Yeah. No one's going to know if there's an extra 5 people in that class.
My freshman year, I had I took it as elective. It was like introductory to psychology. And I walk into that classroom. It's twice the size of my high school. I only graduated with 300 kids in my high school. My graduating class was like 72 when I graduated. So, but it wasn't one of those things where I felt like super intimidated by it or anything. But I was just like, this is twice the size of my high school.
This is a very large, what you call a classroom. Yeah.
More like an auditorium that they just taught things in is really a better description.
Definitely a very large auditorium. Yep, they would show current movies there on the weekends usually.
Oh, sure.
At least when I was there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was great. So, well, we will take a break, and I will go fix our beverage for the second segment of the show. All right, we are back for segment 2. So, as I mentioned, we are doing Scandinavian-ish type gins. This gin actually comes to us from Duluth, Minnesota. So, but it's called Vikra Boreal Juniper Gin. It is inspired by their Norwegian ancestors.
Okay.
So this is the one. This is a new gin to me. I literally just tried it this weekend.
Perfect.
So this gin and tonic is Mediterranean fever tree tonic water, a little bit of lime juice, and then the gin. So give it a try. Cheers.
Yeah, cheers. That's delicious.
Yeah.
That's delicious.
Yeah, it's good. super happy that I had to try to find something that would work, because
that's very tasty.
I stumbled into this. So what I thought I'd do is talk a little bit about the gin and the distillery, and then we also have little samples of our 2 gins, and then we can give those a try. But real quick, so this is their interpretation of a traditional London Dry gin. So they... the botanicals that they use include juniper, coriander, citrus, rhubarb, and they also use pink peppercorns. So, the distillery is based in Duluth, Minnesota. It was started in 2014. They like to say that their gins are inspired by the wilderness of the North Woods of Minnesota, like the Boreal Forest. There, the Boreal Forest kind of stretch from, like, if you looked at like the top half of the Earth, we have Boreal Forest here in Canada and the U.S. as well as like in Scandinavia. So, and they, when they make these, they feature a combination of both foraged wild botanicals that they get there, along with some of the traditional like gin botanicals. So
that's fantastic.
They make 3 gins, 3 Boreal gins. They have this one, which is their juniper. They also do a cedar and a spruce. I've not seen those here, but those are the ones that they have. They also, though, make a plethora of other spirits. They make vodka. They also do an aquavit. They do whiskey. They do herbal liqueurs. They have an amaro. They have an aperitivo. And they also make canned cocktails. So, Vikra, it's the name of the owners, is my understanding. It means the people of the bay. So it sounds like their ancestors were in a bay in Norway, and then Duluth is a bay, like they're in Lake Superior. So that is how we ended up with a Scandinavian-ish type gin in the second segment. So
I think that'd be an interesting thing to try, the spruce.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, both of those. So hopefully they'll be able to start selling those other ones here in the future as well. So now, which of the gins would you like to give a shot?
Let's give the taste to what we're currently on, the Vikra. Right. Yeah, so we can sort of maybe like...
All right, so give this one a little sip and see what you think. It's pretty smooth.
Yeah. Really nice flavor. I can't quite pick apart all of the things, but...
Yeah. I like that it doesn't set my throat on fire when it goes down.
No. Yeah, that's quite enjoyable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that'll be nice in a summer gin and tonic.
Yes, that'll be really good in a summer gin and tonic. So, when I was experimenting or trying this gin over the weekend, I tried it with both the Mediterranean, which we're having, but also the light premium. It went really well with both, I thought. I just preferred the Mediterranean a little bit personally. So,
what does the Mediterranean have in it that's different than the regular?
They use some botanicals from the Mediterranean, which slipped my mind. But I actually talked about this in episode 5 because Molly had asked me in episode 4, and I had researched it. So there's a couple botanicals they take from the Mediterranean, and that's why they call it their Mediterranean tonic. Yep.
Yeah, those are great tonics.
Yeah,
very delicious stuff.
Yeah, they've got a really good line of tonics. It's kind of my go-to. I've tried a bunch of different ones, and for me personally, I found that that's kind of my go-to. So.
Yeah, it's sort of like set the new standard there. Yeah. I also enjoy that they forage some of their ingredients. It feels very like similar to beer nerdery, that like, breweries that are foraging their own ingredients. I find that interesting and, a little extra, but go for it. Why not?
Yeah. No, definitely. I think here in Michigan, but also other places, just because, I haven't done, this is only episode 7, but like almost all of the distilleries that I've done some research on so far, they've all started within like the last 10 years. I think so far there's only been a couple of outliers that started before that. And I've actually been doing some homework for the next episode. Actually, those are two of the older ones. But like when Drew was on, when we did the Haymans, they've been around for over 100 years. And like I just haven't, most of them are kind of in like the 8 to 10 year span.
Yeah, I could imagine that. Like so the craft, beverage rage in the last 15 years.
Yeah, it's just been kind of blowing up, which has been great because there's a bunch of good stuff out there.
And
so
as a consumer, I think it's great. Everything just got better. Like, I mean, beer, cocktails, all of it just keeps getting better.
Yeah.
Like, it's great.
All right, let's give the Stockholm one a little sip. So this was from our first segment.
Yep.
The Stockholm's Brennery, which I'm sure I'm pronouncing wrong.
Oh, much more flavorful, like, on its own than in the cocktail. And also doesn't really set my mouth on fire or my throat on fire.
No, it's really smooth, but you can, taste quite a few of the...
Yeah, the botanicals
it comes across like a little bit more... it only has like 7 ingredients, but it feels more complex when you taste it just on its own.
Agreed. Also, I think this is the first time I've been so delicate taking a shot of something. But it's a nice way to sort of taste just it plain on its own, not in a cocktail with no other flavors, and to get a real nice little like...
Yeah, now I didn't do it for these, but I was actually out to dinner. Actually, I was with Jerry, and we were out to dinner with a gentleman who also really enjoyed gin, which I should start doing. But he said a great way to taste a gin is to pour a little bit of it and then just put a little bit of water in with it.
Oh.
And he said that really like unlocks a lot of the flavor and stuff.
Okay.
I didn't do this for this. I just kind of poured these and we did it. But for the 3 listeners at home, if you want to just try some gins and kind of check those out, put just a little bit of water in with just a little shot of gin and sip on that and see if you can taste some of the different botanicals.
Post your reviews in the comment section.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is the 7th episode. There should be 7 listeners, 6 listeners from before.
I finally realized in episode 5 I should tell people that I created an Instagram account for the podcast. So I did that.
The Instagram, Yeah. Leave the comments.
Yeah. Because eventually, depending on how many episodes I do, but I'll run out of trivia questions from Jerry. Like, once I hit episode 25, I would have to come up with a new concept or figure out different trivia. So, I don't know. Maybe at that point, I can answer, like, viewer question or listener questions. Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe there's a video component in the future. You never know.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. Although I've always been told I have a face for radio, so you never know.
Ouch.
So, all right. Are you ready for trivia?
Yeah.
All right. My turn to ask you.
All right. I'm a little nervous here, but
I think you'll do fine. I have faith in my fake son. Okay. Which well-known brand of gin is found in the anagram Rod song? So, which well-known brand of gin is found in the anagram Rod song?
Gordon's. Yeah, Gordon's London Dry.
No,
right? Or Gordon's,
No, you got it. Great.
Yeah.
Good job.
All right.
See?
That's great.
Out of the park.
I had to think about that one for a second. And
I was like,
Gordon's.
Is my head going to wrap around what an anagram is? But I think I would have been able to do that. So
it's a letter game and a word,
exactly.
Word game. Yeah, where you scramble the words to make something else. Yeah.
So, nice job.
Thank you. And that's also in that sort of traditional sort of London Dry, right? Gordon's? Or do they...
that one...
Because I feel like I can picture the bottle on the shelf.
If I had to bet, I would bet yes, it's probably kind of a traditional London Dry.
Yeah.
But I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. But I would bet yes. So,
okay.
Yeah. I'd put money on yes, London Dry. But
all right.
But they probably make a whole bunch of them, is my guess. I feel like Gordon's has been around for a while.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like when I was a kid, people had Gordon's.
What's the track record for guests getting their questions right or wrong?
It's... I would say most people have gotten it right.
Are you throwing them softballs, though?
No. I don't look at the questions before.
Okay.
I just grab, like, the next two off the top out of the deck of cards. Sean messed up in episode 2. Didn't mess up, but he didn't guess
the beef eaters.
Yeah. But I still, and I'm actually going to see him next week, and I'll probably bring this up again. But even
you should totally bring it up.
Well, during the episode, if you listen to it, I'm like, red is not in the title.
No.
And then within like 3 seconds, he goes, "Is it red guard?" And I was just like,
I mean, it's real close. Like you know,
maybe they're wearing red.
Yeah, you can give it a little bit of a mulligan or an asterisk.
Except I literally had just said, red's not in the title.
That's true.
But outside of that, like, let me think. Place, who was the guest for episode 3, just came with a bunch of confidence. He got it. Molly and Kelly were both really nervous, but they got it. I think Drew got it. I have to go back. I can't remember if Jerry got hit. So I would say guests have a
pretty strong track record.
Yeah, at least they've gone at least 4-2, maybe 5-1. So,
okay.
Yeah, so it's good. And then with you, this is
7.
No, this is 7. So that would be 5-2 potentially. So
perfect.
Pretty good.
Yeah. I like those odds.
It is good. So, all right. Would you like to go into Off the Beaten Path?
Sure.
We didn't actually talk about this. Did you want to go first or second?
It doesn't matter to me.
You can go first.
All right. So this might not be super new to all of your listeners, all 3s of them. It is a music recommendation, or Off the Beaten Path. The queer Canadian South African country singer Orville Peck.
If I was going to put money down, I would have guessed this might be your choice.
Okay.
Yeah. So nice. So I know you love him. So tell us about Orville.
He was born in South Africa, grew up there till he was like, I think, mid-teens, 15, 16, something like that, of maybe Canadian parents. Or maybe one of his parents was South African and one's Canadian. And then moved to Canada and was like has been in a bunch of different bands and has a voice that reminds me of a mix between Johnny Cash, Chris Isaak, and a little Lana Del Rey. Yeah.
The Chris Isaak, I totally see that, because I have gotten the chance to listen to a bit of his, getting to hang out with you on road trips or when we're hanging out down at the lab down at your moped shop. So that totally makes sense to me.
Yeah, the first album he self-produced and released on the legendary punk and alternative label Sub Pop. And that has a lot of that more Chris Isaac-y, like, I don't know, sort of throwback sound to it. But it's it's an interesting way. I've never heard traditional sort of North American country music told through a queer lens.
Okay.
And that was something that just, really took me down a bit of a different path. Yeah. Not saying that I'm a raging country fan now, but I have a little bit more room in my heart for that type of music.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. And also he has a mask on, and
now,
it looks really great.
Has he always been wearing the mask, like, as far as you know, like, since he sort of started? And
as long as he's been performing as Orville Peck, he has never performed without the mask.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
we all have Google, so if you want to see that and or more, just Google it.
Are there pictures of him without the mask? Have you found that?
Without the mask and without more, for sure.
And you've seen that? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And how many times? Now, you've gotten to see him, at least once or twice?
Actually, 3 times.
Now 3 times,
yeah,
okay.
Was very lucky to see him back in 2019 when Pony released at our one of our favorite local establishments.
Yeah, I was going to say, you saw him down at the Pyramid Scheme. Yes.
At a sold-out crowd of 420 people in a small room. And then did get a chance to see him in Madison.
Okay.
Where he did a cover of Willie Nelson's Cowboys Are Frequently Secretly Fond of Each Other song, which is fantastic. If you've never heard it, give it a listen.
Okay.
And then got the chance to see him in Detroit last summer. So, if you get a chance to see him, or it comes within 3 hours of your town, go.
Now, do you have Apple TV?
I don't, but I do know that he is a judge on a show for
so
country music, I believe.
I think so. I think it's like a... Yeah, kind of like one of those reality store shows where they're trying to find like a country singer.
Yeah.
And he's one of the judges, though.
Yeah, I would imagine, he will perform as a judge in The Mask as well. He was actually just a guest judge on RuPaul's Drag Race this current season. Okay. Also did it in The Mask. So you don't see him in public settings, performances without the mask.
And I want to say I believe I know the answer to this, but it's not always the same mask, correct?
Oh, no.
He has like a wide range of kind of depending upon his outfit at the time.
Yep.
So. And then also, real quick, you had mentioned that it also reminds you of Lana Del Rey. Did you see that she has a new album?
I did, yes. I have not listened to it yet, but it came across my Apple Music. I think I may be able to pre-add it or something. I'd have to check.
Okay, but you haven't heard it yet, so it might not be out yet. No. So, but I did see that was coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's good. Well, I also went with a band. Okay. Because do you realize that we're coming up on having known each other like next year will be 20 years?
I feel like it's, 2 decades, yeah.
And one of the things, although I definitely would say you're a bigger music fan than I am, but one of the early things that we sort of connected on was like music and everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I was like, what would be a good like off the beaten path for Dave? So I also have gone down the music route, and mine would be a band called Always, although they spell it with 2 V's. So it's ALVVAWS. They're kind of a Canadian like indie pop band. I got introduced to them through my best friend Jim, who is actually going to be the next guest. He is in town from San Francisco. Oh,
fantastic.
And, and we're going to put him on. But he introduced me to them. I just really enjoy them. I actually got to go out to San Francisco this fall.
I was going to say, I feel like you told me about them. Yeah. And it makes sense now that it was when you were visiting Jim.
Like for the Halloween weekend, and we got to go see them at the Fillmore in San Francisco, which is kind of an iconic place. Yeah. It was a great show. If you're looking to just kind of sample an album to see how they are, I think it's their second album, and it's self-entitled Always, but again, it's ALVVAYS. I think that album came out in 2014. There's like 9 songs on it, but they're just super fun to listen to. I really enjoy them. They put on a good show. I'm not sure if they're still out touring because I know they had a new album come out in 2022, but if they're like in your area, go check them out. They're just a fun, good band to listen to, and I would definitely recommend like checking them out.
Just have to ask, do like the hardcore fans call them like always? Like, do they give it like a Dracula moment to it? Or
so I was trying to check on that because even when Jim like introduced me to them, I'm like, wait, is this always or all days? And yeah, it's always. Yeah. I think they're just trying to be, make something that would kind of stand out would be my guess. So, but
it obviously sticks out. So that is well done branding.
Yeah, but they're just like fun to listen to. And I have found that I can listen to them like when I'm trying to just read a little bit, like if I turn it down like a little bit, but also if I want something that's kind of just a good toe tapper and get you going, and then when I was at that concert, I was like, oh man, I forgot how many of their songs are just I really enjoy, and that was such a fun show. So
I would definitely be checking that out. Yeah.
So Always is who I would recommend for this week. So yeah,
I'm excited.
Yeah, it was good. So
you should check and see if they're rolling through the Scheme anytime soon.
Oh, I
would imagine be like a perfect venue for them.
Yeah, they would be. That would be a great spot to catch them. Although I bet they would go to the intersection.
Are they?
Because Fillmore was a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
Than like the Scheme.
Yeah.
But
the Scheme is quite small.
Yeah, but it's great. Such a good like intimate setting. I really enjoy catching shows.
Yeah, we've seen some great shows there.
Yeah, we definitely have.
We were able to see, we were promised jetpacks twice.
We saw that dinosaur band. Remember, who was that band? They were dressed as dinosaurs.
The dinosaurs or the Transformers? Did you go to the Transformers show?
Wait, which one were we at? Oh, maybe they're Transformers.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, they're Transformers.
Cybertronic Spree.
That's who it was. Yeah, I'm sorry, you're right. They were Transformers.
Yeah.
But that was like
tell your threes of listeners to look up Cybertronic Spree YouTube performances. If you're a child of the 80s, 90s, or a fan of like Transformers, it might bake your noodle a little bit, but go for it. It's a fun time.
Yeah, no, that was a good show.
That was a very fun show.
Yeah. No, that's a great spot. Yes. So if you live in Grand Rapids and you want to go see some good bands, just see what's playing down at Pyramid Scheme.
Yep. And also, if you like pinball,
check it out.
Go knock out some pinball games.
Yeah, and it's still like every Sunday is free pinball.
Usually every Sunday after
right?
4. Yeah.
So, and they tend to have good beers on tap.
They for sure do.
Have you considered doing a beer podcast since you love beer so much?
I don't know if anyone wants to hear all of my opinions about that, so I tend to just be snarky and post things in Untapped. So I don't know if anyone needs to hear me throw shade for 35 minutes about beers I either love or hate. Yeah.
I don't know. I think that would be it should be like you and Jeremy, and you should call it like the Snark Show or something that. And you could just like
we certainly would never get a sponsorship of any kind. Like,
no, but you
certainly
would have a lot of very avid listeners.
All right, I could see that. Yeah, yeah, we could be real snarky about it.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're gonna wrap things up. Any last things before we go?
No, this has been great. I really appreciate the introduction to 2 new gens to me.
Yes, and I am looking forward to us eventually scrounging up some tasty Danish gins, I hope.
Yeah.
So that sounds great. Well, thank you very much. We will be back next time.
Thanks for joining us. Feel free to subscribe to us on whichever platform you listen to your podcasts. Also, I want to take a quick minute to thank Darin VanderMolen for all of his help behind the scenes. Without him, this podcast probably wouldn't even exist, and his help is greatly appreciated. Hope you have a great week, and we will look forward to seeing you the next time we go down the botanical trails. This has been a Shits and Giggles production.